IVM.
Hello and welcome to the Habit Coach Podcast, the bite-sized podcast filled with quick and easy actionable habits. Remember, great habits create that awesome life. I am Ashdin Doctor, your habit coach, and today's fun fact of the day has to do with a term from psychology. Did you know that there is a term called Locus of Control? No, it has nothing to do with those flying insects that destroy farmlands. Those are called locusts. And China found an amazing way of controlling them. So maybe I'll do another podcast on locusts of control. But for now, let's get back to the topic at hand. Locus of control is a way of looking at somebody's personality. If they have a strong internal locus of control, it means that they have a feeling that they are in control of the outcomes and events in their life. People with a strong external locus of control believe that the outside world is in control of events and their outcomes. This means that they believe that they are not in control of their own lives. And this theory was designed by Julian B. Rotter in 1954. It has since then become a staple of personality psychology. A person with an internal locus of control might say things like, "Oh, I failed the exam because I did not study hard enough." A person with an external locus of control might say, "I failed because the examiner was mean and made a tough exam." It is very interesting. A person with an internal locus of control will look at two things: their ability and their effort put into the task. People with a strong external locus of control will look at the hardness of the task or the luck and the fate. Notice which words you use more often. We might think of it as insignificant, but it definitely matters in the long run. And as your habit coach, I am constantly striving to show you how you can take control of your life, how you can change things around you, how you can create your own version of a perfect life. And this means that you have to give up believing that the world will dictate how your life turns up. You have to stop wishing for a change and start making a change. You have to basically develop your internal locus of control. And this is completely possible. Lots of research is being done on the tools and techniques of creating an internal locus of control. So let's start with something that is the most important habit to have. A focus on the things you can control and ignoring the things you cannot. The best way of doing this is to identify one of your goals. The next step is to make a list of all the factors preventing you from achieving your goals. For example, if your goal is to start a new business, your list might look like new competitors entering the market. That could be point 1. Point 2 could be not having enough funding. Point 3 could be not having the right skills to execute, not having time to work on the business. Now see which of these are outside your ability to control. See, new competitors is outside your control for the time being. Maybe one day you may become so big that you just buy them out. But for now, it's outside your control. So ignore it. Next, not having enough funding. This is not outside your control. You can ask for investments. You can take a loan or sell a kidney. The point is that you have control over it. Not having the right skills is directly in your control. Learn and develop these skills. Finally, not having time to work on your project, again, is in your control. You will notice that there are certain things that you might not be able to control yet, like the government regulations, etc. But don't blame them, just ignore them. Instead of complaining about what can't be done, focus that energy on what you can do, what you can control. And that is a far better way of dealing with things. So your simple habit of creating this internal locus of control starts by making a list of all the things that are preventing you from reaching your goal. Next, put a big tick next to the things that you can change. You might need to ask for help to do so, but that's okay. The things you cannot change, that are completely out of your control, put a big line through them and ignore them. Instead, focus on all the things that you can control. They are the only things that matter. So start these habits and share with us your progress using the hashtag #TheHabitCoach. If you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on social media. We are at IVM Podcasts on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to reach out to me, I am Ashdin Doc on Twitter and Instagram. You can find lots more information on my website, awesome180.com, or check out different content on my YouTube channel called AWESOME180. That's Awesome 180.
I hope you enjoyed that show. If you aren't following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So it's been a great week on the network, as it almost always is. Let me give you a couple of highlights that you should definitely check out. Chiki Sarkar was on This Round's on Me with Gauri Devi Dayal. Great conversation. Think you will really enjoy that. Shlok Ramachandran of our new show, Millennial Athlete, who guested on one of our older shows, Football Shirtball. He's a big football fan in addition to being a professional athlete. So I think it's a really interesting connection. And they had a great conversation about football just generally. Nankari, our new show about Indian food, hosted by Sadaf and Archit, talk about laddus this week and basically, how awesome they are. It's Diwali week, and I think that's an apt conversation for them to have. On the Wire Talks podcast, Siddharth Bhatia has a great conversation with Dylan Mohan Gray about his work on Bad Boy Billionaire, specifically around the Vijay Mallya episode. Definitely check out the conversation if you want to know more about that. And finally, let me recommend the Edges and Sledges Cricket podcast this week. They take a look back at the IPL 2020. They go over the final, Delhi versus Mumbai, and how that played out. And they also create their dream IPL 2020 fantasy team. Do check that out. I think you'll enjoy that as well. And with that, I hope to see you again next week.
Whether you're an established sports person or a budding one, or simply a sports enthusiast, join us, Tanvi and Shlok.
We are two passionate pro badminton players talking policy, mindset and everything sport.
So tune in to the Millennial Athlete every Monday.
Only on the IVM Podcast Network.
Trust us, it's gonna be lit.